What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Behind the Arc podcast. I'm Josh, and I'm joined here today by Enrique,
Hola, hola, hola.
and we're here to talk about the NBA trade deadline and just make a rundown on some trades. We've come up with 4 trades today that we are going to talk about that we think are possibilities over the next week or so before the trade deadline. And let's get right into it. So, you want to start us off with the first trade?
So I just want to mention one thing.
What's up?
So these trades are a little bit reaching because we both believe that the trade deadline this year is probably not going to be the same as other years. Since I think the teams right now are in good positions, so they don't really need these trades, or like
These
they
are just trades that we came up with that we thought would be like possibilities for teams to accept and that we think would benefit both teams if they were to be
yeah
enacted. And some of these trades do involve players that are potentially on the trade block as well.
yeah definitely. All right, so our first trade that we made, we have the Atlanta Hawks receiving Clint Capella in a Memphis 2020 pick. And then we got the Rockets receiving Jabari Parker, Alex Len, Vince Carter, and a first round pick from Brooklyn, which we will obviously add protections because that pick could potentially be a lottery pick, which at these days, any lottery pick is valuable.
You meant 2020 second round pick from the Hawks, right? Or to the Hawks.
Yeah, to the Hawks. Did I?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify that because you just said 2020 picks. So I just wanted to clarify for the viewers that that's the second round pick going with Clint Capella.
Yeah. So again, Clint Capella, uh, 2020 second round pick from Memphis, or like coming from the Rockets to the Hawks. And then you got Jabari Parker, Alex Len, Vince Carter, and a Brooklyn first round pick going to the Rockets, which is 2020.
And for me personally, I think this trade benefits teams because I could see the Hawks wanting to put a big man around Trae Young and John Collins. And I mean, they've already made some moves to give him a little bit more depth. Adding Jeff Teague gives a secondary ball handler, and I think that was honestly a solid move, if not a move that's really going to change anything this year. But bringing in Clint Capella would definitely open up the door for Trey and John Collins and Capella to be able to grow together, especially with Collins' ability to shoot the three. So I could see that trade definitely being a beneficial one for the Hawks. Whereas for the Rockets, it's kind of a trade of they honestly don't really need Capella that much at this point just because of the way that they seem to be able to play small ball. But getting Alex Len as a guy who can match up with a Rudy Gobert or a Nikola Jokic and at least give them problems, as well as Jabari Parker as a potential tertiary scorer, as well as that first round pick, just seems like a good return for them if they are looking to get rid of Clint.
Yeah, we also have to mention that Alex Len only has 1 year left. Vince Carter only has 1 year left. You're also getting rid of the $14.8 million that Clint Capella is going to make. So that clears up a little bit of room for the Rockets to maybe make some moves in free agency. Jabari Parker only has 2 years. I believe he has a player option, which he probably will decline. So,
The
I
thing
mean,
about this trade, though, is that it's the type of trade that I honestly Rockets would take if they don't see themselves as contenders right now. Which honestly, we're not 100% sure what Mike D'Antoni and Daryl Morey and other
yeah,
people in the Rockets organization really feel about that team right now. And that honestly probably is the biggest question is if they consider themselves contenders or not. Because if they do consider themselves contenders, then they probably won't be looking to give up Clint Capella. But if they consider themselves not really in the
there,
league
yeah.
of like the Lakers, the Clippers, those teams that really could be competing for a championship, then this is definitely the type of trade that you could see them make that would allow them to reposition to add a couple more assets for next year, as well as a first round pick and a couple other guys who could also help them to still be a competitive, very good team this year.
Yeah, and then you also have that 2020 Brooklyn pick, which could be a valuable trade asset for the Rockets in case they want to, make a trade.
And the Nets could definitely fall out of the playoffs. I mean, that pick could very well turn into a lottery pick with
It's
the Nets
either,
just barely holding on to the eight seed
yeah,
right now.
it's either going to be 16, 15, or 14. Like we already know.
Yeah, but that's not a bad pick. I mean, the 14th pick, the 15th pick, you can still find a lot of valuable, honestly, the 15th pick.
And
So
also Brooklyn. Well, I think Brooklyn's pretty close with the teams like in 9, 10, 11 in the West. So actually, it might be lower than 14, but I'm not sure yet.
I mean, it could, we don't really know. There's another half a season of
Yeah.
basketball to play, but that pick could definitely be a valuable asset for them. And even if they Brooklyn does succeed and do well and get like the 16th or 17th pick, then I mean, honestly, it's still a. I mean, you got a first round pick, and first round picks are valuable assets in today's NBA. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. We also have to mention like Vince Carter, good 3-point shooter again. Alex Len, he puts up similar stats as Dwight Powell, so he's
He's a solid rim roller. He can shoot a little bit.
advanced stats
Also
guy.
expanded his range. Yeah, and he's a solid defensive player. Good rim protector. I mean, Alex Lynn is a very solid role player. It's not like this type of trade would just be the Rockets giving up on this season either. I mean, these are and Jabari Parker is a guy who can create his own shot. Has shot a pretty good percentage this year from the field. I mean,
I'd probably bring him
he's
off the
scoring at a
bench.
pretty good level. But he could definitely be a valuable bench
Yeah, dude,
asset.
he's averaging 15 points.
Exactly. And he's doing it on good efficiency.
Yeah, well, except from three, but
Well,
it's the
true.
Hawks. The Hawks. I mean, this is what I.
Nobody on the Hawks is shooting well from three except for
Yeah,
Trey Young.
but like my problem with Trey Young again, even though puts up insane stats, he's not leading a team to, a good offense. Like he's not leading a good offense.
Yeah, the Hawks are not a good I mean, they are a better offensive team with Trey on the floor than they are with him off the floor
Yeah,
by a pretty significant margin. But they are not a good offense.
yeah.
And even with him being an exceptional offensive player, it's not producing a good offense. And he's so bad defensively that kind of is the issue with the Hawks right now. And adding a guy like Clint Capella would definitely, I mean, he's a quality rim protector. He's a very good rebounder, very good
Mobile,
athlete. He's a very good athlete. He moves his feet really well on the defensive end. So
young. He also great shot
all of the
blocker.
above.
He can defend the perimeter pretty well, except against Luka Doncic, of
Yep,
course.
he moves his feet really well on the perimeter in switches. So I definitely could see this trade as being beneficial for both sides, with the Hawks trying to provide some defensive help for Trey, and the Rockets trying to add some future assets, open up some opportunities for some potential more flexibility this summer, as well as add some players who can definitely still help them right now.
And also for the Hawks, I mean, Clint Capella is also a long-term contract, unlike Andre Drummond, who wants a lot of money.
Yes, indeed, you're not wrong. But I mean, that is the thing about Capella, is that they would have a few years to allow him, 3 more years after the season, to allow him to potentially, to basically gel with Trey Young and John Collins and DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish and all their other future pieces. And I mean, that definitely could be a core that could turn into a very good team within the next couple of years.
All right, to transition, we got our next trade. We got the Celtics receiving Hassan Whiteside in exchange for Gordon Hayward and Vincent Poirier. Poirier. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
I think it's Poirier. Yeah.
Poirier. All right.
Yep.
All right. So, what are your thoughts on this trade?
Um, the thing about this trade is that the Celtics, I mean, no disrespect to Daniel Tice or Enes Kanter or Robert Williams. They're all solid players who do have their roles in the NBA, and especially Robert Williams has a lot of potential. But they need a big man if they really want to be able to compete in the playoffs with a team like the 76ers with Joel Embiid, or potentially the Nuggets in the finals, or the Lakers in the finals with Anthony Davis, and even playing against Giannis and the Bucks. They definitely need another big man. And Hassan Whiteside has been phenomenal for the Blazers this year. On the offensive end, he's been efficient and he's been effective offensively, and defensively he's been a monster, especially protecting the rim. I mean, he's leading the league in blocks. He's rebounding very, very effectively at a very high level. So this type of trade would allow the Celtics to build a truly formidable starting five. I mean, Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Um, I'm missing somebody. Who am I missing? Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Whiteside, and Marcus Smart.
Yes.
Play Jaylen Brown at the three.
Yes. Who
I
else?
mean, that team would be so hard to beat.
Who are they? We're missing someone. I swear.
But we are missing somebody, I feel like. Give me
And
a
his
second.
cancer.
Yeah, I don't know about Enes Kanter. I mean, yes, but
Now
we
the
are
question
definitely
is,
missing somebody.
would they have too many centers now? Or
They could make it work. I think they could
so,
figure out a way to
I
make
mean,
it
Daniel
work.
Tice is. I mean, from his official position, it's like power forward and center. So I guess he could play both sides or both of those
Yes.
positions. And
The thing about this
Who's the
trade
other
for the
guy?
Celtics is it would
Oh, Enes
probably
Kanter. Yeah,
deplete their wing depth a little bit at least.
yeah. It
In that they
would.
wouldn't have a ton of
Yeah,
strong wings off the bench. Probably would have to give an increased role to a guy like Grant Williams.
yeah.
But if you're adding in a true stud center at this point, because Hassan Whiteside has played like a stud center this year
His
and will
stats.
likely continue to because of this being his contract year.
Yeah, his
Um,
stats. His stats have paralleled. His stats have paralleled Rudy Gobert's. I know they're not the same player, but
Hassan Whiteside is that his issue has never been talent. His issue for years has been if he was willing to put in the effort to maximize that talent. And in Miami, that was an issue at times, and that is kind of what got him out the door in Miami. But this year in Portland, he has looked like a reinvigorated player who just plays very, very hard, and he's had a great year. And for the Trailblazers, this would give them, I mean, huge. I think this would be a bigger win for the Trailblazers than it would be for the Celtics. And that's even with losing Whiteside, who's been super valuable because they're about to get Nurkic back
and Collins.
and Zach Collins. They're about to get two very good. I mean, Zach Collins is a very good player, and then Nurkic obviously was nearly an all-star last season before he got hurt. I mean, he's playing at an all-star level. You could argue that at least getting those players back would definitely help to fill the void and probably even very effectively fill the void that Whiteside leaves. And then adding Hayward allows them to play Trevor Ariza off the bench, which would make him a much bigger threat off the bench. And that's, I mean, he's a solid backup player. And Hayward, as starting at the three, gives them a lot more firepower and a shot creation in the starting lineup. And it just, this type of trade would, I honestly think, make the Trailblazers much, much more of a threat than they are right now in the Western Conference.
Yeah, it would. The only problem with this trade is, I mean, I would probably make this in a trade deadline first of all because right now the Trailblazers are not healthy at the center position, so you want to obviously, or you want to have everyone back before, or have like not, you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean, yeah.
yeah, you don't want to have no centers on your roster for like.
Yeah, no, the trade deadline's in 5 days, but
It's
then
so
we have the All
close.
Star break pretty soon after that.
It's so close.
So,
I just forget. Like,
but
it's
this is
insane.
definitely the type of trade that I could see the Blazers making a move on if it looks like Nurkic and Collins are really, really close to returning.
But still, my point,
Because
my
when they
point's
get back, this makes them way better.
yeah. But that still makes my point valid. Like, you don't want to lose like 2 games in a tight 8 seed battle.
Well, let me look at Yusuf Nurkic and see if we have any news on him.
I bet it's mid February, so you don't want to lose that many games. I mean, like I don't think losing Hassan Whiteside would lose you many games, but I mean this is why we added Vincent Poirier to the trade, just to be a little temporary
Apparently,
option.
Yusuf Nurkic suffered a calf strain after practice yesterday.
Oh no.
I didn't know that. Hmm. But it's considered a mild injury, and apparently he's fine. He's
He's okay.
still on track
Okay.
to return. It looks like soon after the All Star break, so probably we'll be back by middle to end of February.
Yeah, that's what I
So
thought.
I could definitely see this type of trade being. I could see that. I think if the Trailblazers were called and offered this deal with Hayward and Vincent Poirier right now, I think they would take it in a heartbeat. I think they would take it.
Yeah, I mean
The
like
Celtics are the question, I think, in this trade.
they literally gave up Myers Leonard and Mo Harkless for Hassan Whiteside, and he's been a very good temporary option for them. So I
He
think
has, but if you could get Gordon Hayward, who admittedly isn't Gordon Hayward from Utah, but he's been very valuable this season.
he'd be a great fit on this team.
He's played great. I mean, Gordon Hayward has had a really, really underrated year from what I mean, he's played very, very well. When came back from his injury, he was not as good for a bit. It took him a bit to get adjusted again after he came back from his broken arm this year. But for the most part, he's had a very, very good year. He's been efficient shooting from the point line and from the field. He's scored the ball at a pretty high
He's
level.
he's one of the best all around players when healthy.
I agree. I mean, had a very nice year. He's averaging
Six,
on 51% and 38% from three.
yeah, like
Very
16
efficient.
points,
That's
right?
quality. And shooting 88% from the 3 point line. I mean, free throw line, not the 3 point line. That
That'd
would
be
be
insane.
insane. But
That'd
he's
be something
shooting.
Jan
I
Mahimi
mean,
would do.
he's almost 50, 40, 90.
Dang,
That's
that's very good,
quality. People are not really paying attention to how effectively Gordon Hayward has played this year.
dude.
So I honestly think this trade would be a win-win for both teams.
Dude, imagine Gordon Hayward and Carmelo. Ooh, the duo.
That would probably be their front court.
Yeah, and then you
And then
have Nurkic.
Nurkic. And then they have Collins come off the bench. You could have Poirier come off the bench or
I
Scalabrine
mean,
if they want
let's
Wenyen
Scally
Gabriel.
Labissiere is better.
Yeah, probably Scal or Wenyen Gabriel if they want to give him minutes. They could have Ariza off the bench at the three, and then they still have Anthony Simons as well in the backcourt. I mean, they're a good team. This trade, I really think getting Nurkic back fills that hole for Whiteside so well. I mean, I 100% could see this trade going through, especially, and I think this trade all legitimate contenders in the East because it gives them a much better matchup for a guy like Embiid,
Mm-hmm.
who would probably dominate for the most part against Daniel Tice and Enes Kanter.
Yeah. All right, so on to the next trade. We have the Warriors receiving Andrew Wiggins and the Timberwolves receiving D'Angelo Russell.
Pretty basic trade.
Yeah.
It's been rumored the last couple of days that it was. I think it came out yesterday. Actually, it was rumored that the Timberwolves have dangled Wiggins to the Warriors in a potential D'Angelo Russell trade, and this kind of only goes through if if the Warriors decide that like looking forward to next year that D'Angelo Russell and Steph Curry isn't going to fit great. And the question there is honestly how the Warriors are going to play that defensively. I think that's just such a big issue with an aging Steph Curry and D'Angelo Russell being your backcourt. That just I feel like presents such an issue that's probably going to remain true contenders. I think at least at least with the current roster construction and what we can see with who they're getting back next year and potentially adding a pretty valuable lottery pick. But I think this is a trade that would benefit the Warriors just because of that lack of defense in the front court. I mean, the back court, I'm sorry. And adding Wiggins allows them to slide with Clay back to the two. And then Wiggins is a good catch and shoot guy at the three. He can create his own shot off the dribble. He can create shots for knockdown shooting teammates in Steph and Clay. So I think this is a trade that they should at least definitely consider right now, because while it doesn't really change much for this season, they're going to be bad either way for the rest of the season. Um, it definitely, I think, sets them up for more success next season because I think Wiggins next to Clay and Steph is just going to work better, especially on the defensive end, than putting D'Lo next to Clay and Steph would.
Yeah. Everyone thinks that Andrew Wiggins is the old guy who just shoots inefficiently. He can't play defense. He can only maybe like drive in. He's a little bit athletic. Like he has improved, but this season he's been one of the most improved players. I don't understand why he hasn't been. I mean, the only reason he hasn't been considered most improved player is because we saw that in 2017. But this season, he has shown massive
He
improvement.
shot 33% from three for 3 years in a row.
Yeah,
He's not a great 3-point shooter. He's a slightly below
we all
average
know that. Yeah,
shooter. But he can hit him. He's a decent catch and shoot guy as well.
yeah.
And he can make plays off the dribble. He's still shooting 44%, which is pretty good considering the shots he takes. He
Look,
takes a lot of mid ranges still. Um,
we
and he's
know.
averaging 23 points a game.
Yeah, that's a lot.
People aren't really paying a ton of attention to that. That's you don't just fall into 23 points a game.
Yeah,
You have to be playing quality basketball to average 23 points a game on that type of efficiency.
Andrew Wiggins also provides average defense, and we all know that he's probably better at defense than D'Angelo Russell.
Yes. And when he tries on defense, which there
He
honestly isn't
did.
a ton of motivation for him to try on defense right now because the T Wolves suck. But to start the year, he tried on defense. It seemed like, and it
Yeah.
seemed like at least when the year started and when the Timberwolves were good for the first 10 or 15 games of the season, he was playing quality defense and he looked very engaged. And that quality of player is the type of player that could definitely benefit the Warriors and make them more of a threat next year and going forward. And I mean, he's still how old is he, Andrew Wiggins? He's 20 24. He's 24.
Yeah, 24.
So he still has
A little
a
bit of room
lot
to
of
grow.
time and a lot of potential.
Yeah, he's
In
still got time.
Yes, I mean he's still got 2 or 3 more years until he's supposed to until he would theoretically hit his prime. So
Hey,
I mean,
you never
with the
know.
improvement that he's shown this year, is
Yeah.
it possible that Andrew Wiggins suddenly next year is a 25 game type of guy? It's not out of the question. It's only two more points a
Yeah.
game. If he gets his shooting up a little bit, which playing in Golden State with Steph Curry and Steve Kerr as your coach, don't I mean that's not a bad thing. Playing with two of the greatest shooters, three of the greatest shooters with Clay too, and of all time. I think he could probably learn a thing or two, and definitely would be able to potentially up that efficiency, as well as probably getting better looks from three than he's getting in Golden. I mean, in Minnesota right now. So for that side of the trade, I think it definitely would be a benefit for the Warriors.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Timberwolves side, though?
All right, so Timberwolves, I mean, they've been desperate for to get a point guard that, can play alongside Cat, well, like a star point guard. And, well, D'Angelo Russell is obviously the prime candidate because, the Warriors already have a pretty stacked backcourt of Steph and Clay. And also, they're pretty stacked in the bench, too. So some teams don't really see D'Angelo Russell being, a long term guy over there. But the Warriors are not, they're not biting into like low offers. So I believe that while Andrew Wiggins might be a huge sacrifice and might become I believe he could become a superstar. I mean, that's just me.
It's possible.
Yeah, like that's why going back to the Warriors, I think that's why the Warriors could make this deal because I know he's not gonna become Kevin Durant like at all. Like he's not even the same height, like same talent or anything. But if they can get someone that's close to that level, or
I
just
mean, he's mini LeBron. He's that's who Andrew Wiggins is. He's mini LeBron.
yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously he's not the same player as Kevin Durant, but I'm just saying like filling that hole that Kevin Durant left,
Oh, you mean for
kind
the
of.
Warriors? Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
specific. Okay, yeah.
Like he's not gonna be Kevin Durant. Like let me emphasize that again.
He can play a Kevin Durant-esque role though at times,
Yeah, but he's
catching the ball in the
not
post on
consistently,
smaller guards,
not
knocking
consistently.
down some three-pointers, creating shots for himself and for
Yeah,
teammates.
but again, he's not the same.
Right.
So
I mean, he's not Kevin Durant, expecting him to be, but he's a very valuable player who has a lot of potential still.
yeah, so going back to D'Angelo Russell, I mean, the guy can create his own shot. He can create shots for others. He can drive in, make a bucket. He's he has above average height for the point guard position. I mean, he can do everything on offense.
He is best friends with
Cat as well.
Carl Anthony Towns, by the way. Just throwing that out there as well. He and Devin Booker and Kat have wanted to play together for years. They
And
go on
also
vacation
Willie.
together every summer. Like, I mean,
Poor Willie.
so I could you yes, and Willie, poor Willie.
Nah.
Yep. I don't feel bad for him. He gets to play with Luca now.
Yeah.
But um I think I mean I think for the Timberwolves, I mean it's kind of a no-brainer. Andrew Wiggins is a great player, but Andrew Wiggins and Cat do not play amazingly together and never have produced a lot of success. D'Angelo Russell is a proven all-star level point guard who has played at a high level this year and has played very effectively even on a absolutely horrendous Warriors team. Um, and when you have the opportunity to get a franchise point guard with 3 more years on his contract, who has incredible chemistry with your franchise player in your big man,
Who you don't want
um,
to lose.
and you have exactly, and you don't want to, because Cat. There have been grumbles and rumors about how Cat isn't happy, and Cat just doesn't like the Timberwolves' lack of moves, and how they aren't supporting him and building him a team. This shows Cat, we're listening. We just got you your best friend who happens to be a star point guard, and we want you here, and we want to build around you, and we want to win with you. This is the type of move that shows that commitment to Karl Anthony Towns, and honestly probably sets them up for better success next year as well. And I mean, yes, he's making a lot of money, but he's making basically the exact same money that Wiggins is. I mean, they're pretty much making like within $300,000 of each other. They're making very,
Yeah.
very, very similar money. So that in of itself isn't an issue.
I also believe that I think this deal actually is better than, trading all the depth that the Timberwolves have, like Robert Covington and Gorgie
Yep.
Dang, because like not only do they get D'Angelo Russell, out of this trade, but they also get to keep all that defense. Like they get to keep Okoji, they get to keep that first round pick, they get to keep, Gorgie Dang, like I said, Robert Covington.
Yeah.
Like I think this team would also have some good depth.
They still have
Jake Layman,
Jake Layman
yeah,
if he gets healthy. Jarrett Culver, Shabazz Napier. I mean,
you can build a good
Jordan
defensive
Bell.
team around this team. I mean, we saw that.
This is a quality team.
Yeah, we saw how good defensively this team was in the beginning of the season, which has kind of fallen apart due to injuries.
Yeah, I mean, they Keita Bates Diop. Let's don't forget about him.
Oh yeah,
He's a valuable 3-and-D type
he's really
player
good.
coming off the bench. I think very underrated player. But I think this is the type of trade when you still have pieces like Robert Covington and Jake Layman who can play those minutes at the three.
Yeah.
I don't see why they wouldn't make this move. Yeah, if I'm the Timberwolves, I see no reason whatsoever why they wouldn't make this move.
But from the Warriors standpoint, I could see them declining it because we all know the Warriors. They think I don't know what the Warriors. I don't know what they think about D'Angelo Russell. Like, are they trying to improve his value? Are they trying to keep him long term?
I don't think his value is going to change.
Yeah, but
We know who D'Angelo Russell is,
yeah. All right.
but I mean, what is D'Angelo? He's shooting 43%, 38% from three, averaging 24 points a game. He's got a 20 PER. That's
On a bad team.
yeah, that's impressive. He's had a very good year. That is quality. You got to give it to him. That is very good. Good for him. Um,
So do you want to move on
so
to
yeah, I
next?
see no reason why the Timberwolves wouldn't take that. And the Warriors, I think if they thought about it, this is the trade that they would take as well, because I think Wiggins fits better with Russell because defense matters too, and they know that, and they know that their defense is going to be an issue next year with the way that their roster is set up right now.
Oh yeah.
So I think that this is a win-win trade. So I could definitely see this potentially happening over the next week if the Warriors decide they're willing to trade Russell.
Did you ever watch Avengers Endgame? Or
Avengers.
basically
I did
Infinity
see
War?
Avengers. Yeah, I saw Endgame.
You remember the part where the guy goes like, "A soul for a soul"?
Yeah.
This is a star for a star.
I mean, pretty much. But it's a beneficial trade to both teams, just like the Hayward-Whiteside trade, I think is.
A star for a star.
Stuff.
But
Okay, so we could move on to the last trade then, I guess. We had the Lakers receiving Derrick Rose and Svi Mikhailuk for Quinn Cook and Kyle Kuzma. And this was Gumby's idea. So what do you think about this trade? What made you come up with this one?
so Kyle Kuzma, I mean, I believe his value after the Kobe game has vastly improved because we all saw how he has. I mean, we all remember he was like the 27th pick in the first round, like, and the fact that he played so well his rookie season, I mean, that was so impressive. So, I mean, to do that, you have to be a really hard worker. So I think Kyle Kuzma's work ethic is one of the most underrated in this league. So bring him to to that Pistons mentality of grit and grind. I know that's the Memphis thing, but basically the same thing with the Pistons. So you bring Kyle Kuzma, works really hard. He has a great contract. He's a really good offensive player. He tries hard on defense. Then you also bring in Quick Cook, who, I mean, it's just to match his salaries. But I guess Quinn Cook could be a good 3-point shooter at times. I mean, he's not that bad. Then you go to Lakers side. I mean, you get Svi. I do not know how to pronounce any other part of his last name, so I'm just gonna go with Svi. Svi.
Mikhailuk. Svi Mikhailuk.
I'm not even gonna try. I'm sorry, but I'll give you the Mimi part. Sviatoslav Mikhailuk.
There we go. That's the clip.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Svi has had. I mean, he made the Rising Stars challenge. I mean, I know it's for Team
That
World.
means nothing, but
I know it means nothing, but well, it
Rui
means
Hachimura
something.
made it too, and he's barely played.
It means something. Well, it means a little something because no one has really paid attention to Svi and how good of a season he's had.
He's shooting 43%. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm trying to say like the dude. No one's paid
And
attention to him.
87% from free throw line. He's
Yeah.
got an 11 PER. 12.
Yeah, but he's on the
in 20
Pistons.
minutes a game. Wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah, he's a
On
guy.
the Pistons.
Yeah, on the Pistons. And I mean, I think the Pistons already have Luke Kennard, who basically provides that. So I don't think they really need a Svi on their team. So you know,
That's a pretty nice throw in, I'll say that. Along with Derrick Rose, who obviously
that
can
would be a
play
steal for the Lakers.
phenomenal point guard minutes for the Lakers.
Yeah,
Derrick Rose is back to being, he's not Derrick Rose like MVP Derrick Rose, but he has evolved his game to make him a super effective player. He's been great this year. I mean, his 3-point shooting has not been spectacular. It's been below average, but he's averaging 19 points a game on 50% shooting and shoot at 6 assists per game. I mean, that's quality basketball.
yeah.
And he's got a 22 PER,
The only
which
reason
PER is
why,
not the only stat that
yeah,
matters, but it's always
PIPM
nice
matters
when you have a
more.
PER like that.
PIPM matters more. We all know
Oh, for sure.
that. All right. Also, this trade is kind of hard to make, and it's kind of a reach because, well, it was hard because there's three guys on the Lakers who have no trade clauses, who ironically were also the guys that were on LeBron's team last year. You know, JaVale McGee, Rajon Rondo, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Yeah, those three were the guys that were like thrown in trades last year for Anthony Davis. So I think that's why they got their no trade clauses so they could feel safe with the Lakers.
They want to win their rings.
Yeah. So that's why this trade's a little bit of a reach. I mean, if those guys didn't have like a no trade clause, we'd obviously add them in. I Kentavious Caldwell-Pope back with the Pistons. I don't think that would happen, but maybe throw him JaVale McGee. And I think Pistons get a pretty solid backup center, I guess. Maybe for like 2 years. I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's why it was kind of hard. And it's kind of a reach because I feel like the Lakers, I think they win too much. Like, if the Lakers somehow got this deal, like, it would be a huge surprise if they didn't win the championship. Huge surprise.
Right. But I don't think that this trade is bad for the Pistons.
Oh, yeah, it isn't bad for the Pistons either because they also get rid of the Derrick Rose contract. I mean, they still get a really young player in Kyle Kuzma who has shown that he can
I wouldn't call
play
the Derrick
really
Rose
well.
contract a contract. I
Oh,
wouldn't say that's
it's a
something to get
yeah,
rid of. It's a great contract.
yeah, it's a great contract for the production he provides. Or
Yeah.
for his
He
production.
is earning his money
Yeah.
easily.
Oh,
He should be
he
making
deserves
15 mil
more.
a year, and he's making seven and a half.
I was so surprised when he got that contract. I was like, yo, the Mavs should have given him that.
Yeah, seriously, I would not have minded
He's
that at all.
making, dude, he's making less than DeLon. Like, come on.
Yeah,
we should have gone him.
but I don't know. I mean, Derrick Rose, he's had a great year, and this trade would 100% benefit the Lakers. But then the question becomes: is Kyle Kuzma valuable enough to the Pistons for their future for them to make this move? Because I mean, the Pistons aren't going to be competitive this year. We know that. So at this point, they have to start looking towards the future.
But see,
And if you can make
yeah,
a trade like this with a relatively valuable older asset like Derrick Rose, and bring in a guy like Kyle Kuzma, who has 3 more years on his contract for cheap. He's shown a lot of potential this year. He's playing really, really effectively, playing really hard, and showing a lot of good rebounding and defensive traits right now, which is what you really wanted to see him improve in. So it's been really good to see him show improvement in the areas that he struggled. And for them, I think, depending on what they feel about Kuzma, this definitely is
I
a
think, I
win
think,
for them as well.
I feel like Kuzma's highly valued in this league because we also saw some trade rumors involving Bogdanovich and Kyle Kuzma, you know, just straight up. So I believe Kuzma is a pretty highly valued player due to his contract and production. And, well, he's also young. I feel like, and we also saw how the Lakers somehow declined Derrick Rose for Caruso in a second round pick. Like, is Derrick Rose
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
like you take that? But I think so. I think adding Kyle Kuzma would allow the Lakers to maybe get another player because I think Kyle Kuzma is just really highly valued in the league.
I think you're. So getting Svi on this.
Oh, if they get Svi, like this would be a huge steal for the Lakers.
Uh,
Like Svi is so underrated. Like just to have, I'm not. It's not fair to compare him to Kyle Korver, but He'd be kind of like a Kyle Korver on the Cavs, or like Kyle Korver on the Cavs when LeBron was on the Cavs. Like just a guy who can flat out shoot off the bench and try. All right, so those were our 4 trades. To summarize, we had Clint Capella and a second-round pick going to the Hawks, and the Rockets receiving Jabari Parker, Alex Len, Vince Carter, and a 2020 Atlanta Hawks pick via Brooklyn, first-round pick, obviously. Also protected. What protection would you add on that? I believe it should be top 5. I believe
On which pick?
on the Brooklyn pick going to the Rockets. I believe they have to protect that. I think it should be like top 4 protected or top 5, just somewhere around there.
I'd say top 5 protected. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I just don't expect it to fall into that. It would take a lot of luck for them to get
yeah.
into 5 on that pick. So in all likelihood, that pick would convey as a middle of the first round pick.
Again, it will likely just be a mid-round pick, anyways.
Right.
Then we had the Celtics receiving Hassan Whiteside, who would provide that last missing piece the Celtics probably need, which is just a threat at the center position. And the Trailblazers receiving Gordon Hayward and Vincent Poirier. Gordon Hayward obviously being one of the most underrated all-around players in the league. He can pass, he can defend, he can shoot. He also fills in the void that is it Robert Hood? Hold up, I'm having a seizure.
Rodney Hood.
Rodney Hood. Who's Robert Hood?
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh, Ronnie Magruder.
Ronnie Magruder.
The GOAT.
Yep.
Also part of the Hassan Whiteside trade. Then you also have the Warriors receiving Andrew Wiggins. Then you had the Timberwolves receiving D'Angelo Russell. And we had the Lakers receiving Derrick Rose, Svi Mikhailiuk. I don't know if I said that right. And
It's pretty close.
Pistons receiving Quinn Cook and Kyle Kuzma. Now again, like we said in the beginning of the episode, we don't think that there's going to be many moves this offseason, or this trade deadline, my bad. This trade deadline, but we believe that these are moves that could potentially upgrade both teams involved.
Yep. Well, all right. Well, this will conclude another episode of the Behind the Arc podcast. And make sure to like the video on YouTube, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Spotify, and share the podcast and all that stuff. And we will be back at y'all next week with another episode. And always remember,
the Mo Bamba will always be with you.
yep. Peace out, guys.